This is my ranking of the best stealth games on PS5 that I've played, based purely on my personal experience. Each one is placed from masterpiece to trash depending on how strong the stealth mechanics are and how tense and satisfying sneaking feels. Let's get straight into the list. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is a stealth action remake set during the Cold War, following Naked Snake on a mission to stop a growing nuclear threat. Camouflage, silent takedowns, survival mechanics, and careful enemy avoidance shape every mission through dense jungle environments. Once I settled into its rhythm, I found myself watching every guard route instead of rushing ahead. Swapping camouflage to match the surroundings, hiding bodies, and using distractions made every successful infiltration satisfying. I also liked how the survival mechanics, from treating injuries to managing food, added extra tension without slowing everything down. The updated controls made sneaking and aiming much smoother, although some encounters felt easier than expected because of those modern improvements. Even so, the memorable boss fights, detailed jungle, and powerful story kept me invested all the way through. I had an excellent time with it, so it easily lands in the excellent tier. Assassin's Creed Shadows is set in feudal Japan, where Naoi and Yasuke follow separate paths that slowly become connected through conflict and revenge. Parkour, silent eliminations, seasonal changes, dynamic weather, and two very different combat styles shape how each mission unfolds. I spent most of my time playing as Naoi because sneaking across rooftops, slipping through tall grass, and reaching targets without raising alarms felt far more rewarding. When I wanted to change, switching to Yasuke completely changed my approach since I could break through defenses instead of avoiding them. I also liked how the castles encouraged different routes, letting me climb, distract enemies, or wait for the perfect opening. The changing seasons kept familiar locations looking fresh, and the smooth movement made traveling enjoyable between missions. Even though the story didn't surprise me very often, the variety in gameplay kept me coming back for more. This secures a place in my excellent tier. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered continues Ellie and Abby's emotional story in a ruined America filled with infected and dangerous survivor groups. Careful movement, crafting, listening skills, silent eliminations, and limited resources shape every encounter, while the remastered version improves visuals, performance, and adds the no-return roguelike mode. I found myself planning every encounter instead of charging forward because supplies were always limited and enemies reacted aggressively to every mistake. Crawling under vehicles, hiding in tall grass, and using bottles to distract enemies created constant tension. I also enjoyed how every location offered multiple ways to reach my objective, making each fight feel different. The improved visuals made familiar areas look even better, while No Return kept me playing long after I finished the story thanks to its different characters and random encounters. Without any doubt, this belongs in my masterpiece tier. A Plague Tale Requiem lets you take control of Amicia and her younger brother Hugo as they search for a cure to his mysterious illness across a war-torn version of medieval France. Sling weapons, alchemy, light sources, and massive swarms of rats create dangerous encounters that reward careful planning and smart use of the environment. I found myself avoiding direct fights whenever possible because a single mistake could quickly turn everything against me. Using fire to keep the rats away while distracting guards with rocks created some of my favorite moments, especially when both threats appeared together. I also liked how the different tools let me solve encounters in several ways without making anything feel too easy. The emotional story kept me invested, and the stunning environments made every new area worth exploring despite how dark the journey became. This is an easy pick for my excellent tier. Deathloop is a time loop action game set on Black Reef, where Colt must study the island, track down 8 visionaries, and break the cycle before the day resets. The 4 time periods, changing districts, supernatural powers, and gunplay all work together to shape every mission. Once I got into it, I loved how every loop felt like a puzzle instead of a repeat. I could test new routes, learn enemy patterns, and turn each discovery into a better plan for the next run. The mix of information gathering, fast movement, and powerful weapons kept every attempt exciting, and the freedom to approach targets in different orders made it easy to stay invested. Juliana also added extra pressure whenever she showed up. By the end, I felt like I had built my own perfect route through the chaos. That is an easy choice for my excellent tier. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain follows Venom Snake as he rebuilds a mercenary force while hunting the people responsible for destroying everything he once had. Open-ended mission design, camouflage, gadgets, companions, and a huge range of tools allow every objective to be completed in different ways across large battlefields. I loved how much freedom every mission offered, because I was never forced into a single approach. Some missions had me quietly marking guards before slipping past them, while others ended with tranquilizer shots and extracting soldiers to strengthen my base. I also kept changing companions depending on the objective, and each one made missions feel different. Even after finishing the main story, I went back to improve mission rankings because experimenting with new tactics stayed entertaining. Although the later story lost some momentum, the incredible gameplay easily carried the entire adventure. This deserves nothing less than a place in my masterpiece tier. Sniper Elite. Resistance is set in occupied France during World War II, where an elite marksman works alongside the French resistance to complete dangerous missions behind enemy lines. Long-range shooting, realistic bullet physics, multiple infiltration routes, and large open maps encourage careful planning before every objective. I spent most missions searching for the perfect vantage point instead of rushing into danger because landing a long-distance shot after accounting for distance and bullet drop was always satisfying. When things went wrong, I enjoyed changing tactics by sneaking through buildings or quietly eliminating enemies one by one. The Axis invasion mode added even more tension since another player could suddenly appear and force me to rethink my entire plan. I also liked how every map offered different paths, making each mission feel fresh despite the familiar formula. This secures its place in my good tier. Assassin's Creed Mirage follows Basim as he rises through the Hidden Ones while uncovering a dangerous conspiracy in 9th century Baghdad. Parkour, gadgets, eagle scouting, silent eliminations, and dense city streets encourage careful infiltration instead of direct combat, bringing the series back to a more focused style. I enjoyed planning each assassination because charging into large groups was rarely the best option. Watching guard patrols, using throwing knives to quietly remove threats, and creating distractions with gadgets made every restricted area satisfying to clear. I also liked how the smaller map kept objectives close together, so the adventure maintained a steady pace without unnecessary distractions. While the story didn't leave a huge impact on me, the return to classic assassination-focused design made exploring Baghdad consistently enjoyable. For me, this finds a spot in my good tier. Dishonored 2 follows either Emily Kaldwin or Corvo Attano as they fight to reclaim the throne after a powerful usurper seizes control of the Empire. Supernatural abilities, creative gadgets, vertical level design, and multiple infiltration routes encourage solving every mission with your own approach instead of following a single path. I loved experimenting with different powers because every mission rewarded creativity rather than brute force. Some areas had me quietly slipping across rooftops and knocking out guards, while others became playgrounds where I combined abilities to overcome impossible situations. The incredible level design constantly surprised me with hidden passages, alternate objectives, and clever ways to reach my target without being detected. I also appreciated how choosing a different protagonist completely changed the way I approached encounters, making another playthrough just as rewarding as the first. It goes into the great tier. Alien Isolation follows Amanda Ripley as she searches for answers about her missing mother aboard the abandoned Sevastopol space station. Motion tracking, crafting, hiding, and careful resource management replace direct combat, forcing every encounter to become a desperate fight for survival against an unstoppable alien hunter. I spent most of my time moving cautiously because making too much noise could instantly ruin my plan. Watching the motion tracker while listening for footsteps above the vents created constant tension, and hiding inside lockers never truly felt safe. I also liked how limited supplies made every distraction tool and flamethrower burst feel valuable instead of something I could waste. Even though a few sections dragged on longer than I wanted, the incredible atmosphere and relentless sense of danger kept me completely invested until the end. It comfortably earns a place in my great tier. Sniper Elite 5 is set in World War II, where Carl Fairburn infiltrates Nazi bases across France to destroy a secret weapon program. Long-range rifles, bullet drop, sound masking, traps, and alternate mission routes shape each objective as the campaign unfolds. I enjoyed taking my time with every map because lining up a shot after reading wind and distance felt rewarding. When I wanted a different pace, I moved through buildings, set traps, and picked off guards one by one. The big maps made each mission feel open, and the X-ray shots added extra impact every time I landed a clean hit. I also liked the co-op runs, since the mission still worked well with another player. The movement can feel stiff in places, but the shooting and mission design kept me coming back. This settles into my great tier. Shadow Gambit. The Cursed Crew takes place in a supernatural Caribbean where a crew of cursed pirate outlaws battles a powerful inquisition while searching for legendary treasure. Real-time tactical planning, unique character abilities, synchronized actions, and clever environmental interactions reward careful thinking before every move. I enjoyed experimenting with different crew combinations because every pirate brought abilities that completely changed how I approached each mission. Pulling off perfectly timed coordinated actions after studying enemy patrols was incredibly satisfying, especially when everything worked exactly as planned. I also liked revisiting the islands with different characters, since new abilities open creative routes I couldn't use before. While I wish the enemy reactions were a little more dynamic, the excellent mission design and the freedom to solve problems in multiple ways kept every operation engaging. For me, this fits nicely into my good tier. Desperados III follows bounty hunter John Cooper as he assembles a skilled crew to hunt the outlaw responsible for his father's death across the Wild West. Real-time tactical planning, unique character abilities, synchronized actions, and carefully designed enemy patrols reward patience and smart coordination instead of reckless attacks. I loved figuring out how each character's skills work together, because almost every challenge had several creative solutions. Timing multiple actions perfectly through showdown mode never stopped being satisfying, especially when an entire group of enemies disappeared without raising the alarm. I also appreciated how different mission lineups forced me to adapt instead of relying on the same strategy every time. Some missions were longer than I preferred, but the outstanding level design and constant tactical decision-making kept me fully invested from beginning to end. This easily deserves a place in my great tier. Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun takes place in Edo-era Japan, where a small team of skilled warriors works together to eliminate dangerous enemies and protect the Shogun. Real-time tactical planning, unique character abilities, synchronized attacks, and carefully designed enemy patrols reward patience, observation, and precise teamwork throughout every mission. I loved how each character brought something completely different to the squad, forcing me to think carefully before making every move. Pulling off perfectly timed attacks with Shadow Mode was incredibly satisfying, especially when an entire group of guards disappeared without anyone noticing. I also enjoyed experimenting with different routes, because every map offered several clever ways to complete the objective. Although I occasionally got caught on small environmental obstacles, the outstanding level design and rewarding tactical gameplay kept me fully engaged from beginning to end. It easily earns a place in my great tier. Aragami 2 takes place in the war-torn land of Rashomon, where a skilled shadow assassin fights to protect the Kuratsuba clan from a deadly enemy. Shadow powers, rooftop traversal, vertical level design, and multiple infiltration paths encourage careful planning while avoiding direct confrontations whenever possible. I enjoyed studying each area before making my move because the open layouts rewarded patience and creative thinking. Unlocking new shadow abilities gave me more ways to slip past guards or quietly eliminate groups without creating chaos. And pulling off those plans was always satisfying. I also liked how playing with friends made coordinating silent takedowns much more enjoyable and helped missions move at a better pace. The repetitive objectives, awkward combat, and occasional technical issues stopped it from reaching the next level, but the satisfying sneaking mechanics still kept me coming back. It finds a solid place in my good tier. Styx Shards of Darkness follows the clever goblin Styx as he sneaks through a dark fantasy world filled with elves, dwarves, and dangerous enemies while chasing valuable amber and uncovering hidden conspiracies. Vertical level design, Creative stealth abilities, crafting, and multiple infiltration routes reward careful planning instead of direct combat. I enjoyed how many different ways there were to slip past guards because every mission encouraged me to experiment with new strategies. Using Styx's clone, poison, and invisibility abilities to solve difficult situations made every successful infiltration feel rewarding, and escaping after being spotted was often just as exciting. I also appreciated that the higher difficulty pushed me to stay hidden instead of relying on fighting my way through. Recycled environments held it back a little, but the satisfying sneaking mechanics and smart level design kept me engaged throughout. It earns a well-deserved spot in my good tier. Serial Cleaners follows a team of professional crime scene cleaners working for criminal organizations across different decades, removing bodies, blood, and evidence before the authorities can uncover what happened. Distinct character abilities, environmental navigation, patrol management, and careful route planning reward patience and smart decision-making during every cleanup. I enjoyed figuring out the safest path through each location because every mistake forced me to rethink my approach. Switching between the different cleaners kept missions interesting since each one solved problems in a unique way, and planning the perfect cleanup without attracting attention was satisfying. I also liked how the character stories gradually revealed their motivations, giving the campaign more personality than I expected. Some missions became repetitive after repeated failures, but the stylish presentation, creative premise, and rewarding stealth mechanics kept me invested throughout. It comfortably earns a place in my great tier. That's my ranking of the best stealth games on PS5. Every game on this list gave me a different kind of challenge, but the best ones always made staying hidden more satisfying than fighting. Thanks for watching.